Welcome. This channel brings you daily motivation and uplifting sermons. Subscribe now. And together let's reach 1,000 subscribers while building a positive, inspiring community. Imagine standing in the stillness of a forest as the last light fades and the air grows cool. Somewhere in the distance, you hear it a single howl rising above the quiet. It's haunting, it's commanding, and it's undeniably powerful. That lone wolf isn't crying out for someone to find it. It's not begging for company or searching for approval. No, that wolf is declaring its existence. I am here. I am strong. I will endure. Think about that for a moment. We live in a world that often urges us to stay close to the pack, to move only when others move, to follow the paths laid out by someone else's footsteps. But the lone wolf teaches us something different. Sometimes you have to step away. You have to walk your own path, find your own pace, and trust your own instincts. Now, walking alone doesn't mean you're isolated. It doesn't mean you're turning your back on people. What it does mean is that you're willing to break free from the herd mentality. You're no longer waiting for a sign from the crowd to tell you it's okay to pursue your dreams. You're no longer dependent on someone else's approval to take that next step. Instead, you're answering your own call, the call of the wild within you, the part of you that yearns to live boldly and authentically. In that solitude, you begin to hear something you may have never noticed before: your own voice. It's not drowned out by the opinions of others, by the chatter of the crowd, or by the noise of the world. That voice is clear. It's pure. It's yours. And when you listen to it, you start to understand who you really are, not who people expect you to be, not who the pack thinks you should be, but the person you were always meant to become. So, here's the truth. The call of the wild isn't for everyone. It's for those willing to face uncertainty. It's for those brave enough to venture into the unknown. It's for those who understand that growth doesn't happen in the comfort of the crowd. It happens in the stillness, in the challenge, and in the uncharted territories of life. If you can embrace that, if you can learn to walk alone like a lone wolf, you'll discover that the strength you've been searching for has been inside you all along. When you walk alone, every decision rests squarely on your shoulders. There's no one to point the way, no one to blame if you falter, and no one to share the burden of the journey. At first, that weight might feel heavy. It might feel overwhelming. But the truth is, that's exactly how you grow stronger. The lone wolf understands this instinctively. Without the pack's constant support, it learns to rely on its own keen senses. It hones its instincts, sharpens its awareness, and becomes attuned to the subtleties of the world around it. In the same way, when you step away from the crowd and walk your own path, you start to see things more clearly. You learn to trust your gut. You learn to recognize opportunities that others overlook. You become self-reliant, capable, and resilient. Solitude isn't something to fear. It's something to embrace. It's not the same as loneliness. Loneliness is a feeling of being cut off, of missing connection. Solitude, on the other hand, is a choice. It's a conscious decision to carve out space for yourself so that you can grow, reflect, and strengthen your core. Think of it as your training ground, your proving ground, where every challenge you face, and every obstacle you overcome shapes you into a more formidable person. In solitude, you'll encounter your own doubts. You'll hear that inner voice whispering, "What if I fail?" But that's not a reason to turn back, it's a reason to keep going. Because each time you face that doubt and move forward, you prove something to yourself. You prove that you don't need validation from others to succeed. You prove that you have what it takes to keep going, even when the way forward is unclear. You prove that you are enough. Walking alone gives you a new kind of freedom. Without a pack to keep pace with, you set your own rhythm. You determine your own direction. You choose your own priorities. And with that freedom comes power to forge a path that's uniquely yours. Power to listen to your heart and your mind without outside interference. Power to stand tall and know, deep down, that you've built yourself into someone who doesn't just survive, but thrives. Solitude is where strength is born, and every step you take alone, every decision you make on your own terms, builds a foundation that no one can shake. It's in solitude that you come to understand that you are stronger than you ever imagined. And once you've discovered that, there's no turning back. Life doesn't always offer smooth trails. There will be times when the wind howls against you, when the path ahead is obscured by shadows, and when the rain soaks you to the bone. But here's the secret. A lone wolf doesn't wait for the storm to pass. It doesn't retreat to the safety of the den, hoping the clouds will clear on their own. No. A lone wolf stands tall, braces itself against the elements, and keeps moving forward. When you choose to walk alone, you're signing up to face the storm head-on. There won't always be a crowd to cheer you on, or a pack to shield you from the harsh reality of life's trials. You'll have to rely on your own resolve. That might sound daunting, but it's also empowering, because every time you push forward, through the storm, every time you face a setback, a failure, or a moment of doubt and refuse to give up, you discover just how strong you truly are. The storm isn't your enemy. It's your test. It's there to push you, to challenge you, to demand more from you than you thought you could give. And when you rise to meet that challenge, something incredible happens. The storm that once seemed overwhelming becomes your proving ground. Each obstacle you overcome, each decision you make in the face of uncertainty, adds another layer of strength, another layer of resilience. You become tougher, sharper, and more focused. You see, anyone can follow a well-lit path on a calm, sunny day. But those who choose to walk alone, who choose to forge their own way, find their true character when the skies turn dark. They discover what it means to dig deep, to keep going when everything around them seems to be pushing them back. They learn to trust themselves not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. When you emerge from that storm, and you won't just be the same person who started the journey. You'll be someone who has faced the wind and rain and come out stronger. You'll carry the lessons of the storm with you. Lessons that can't be taught in comfort or ease. Those lessons will shape you into someone who doesn't just survive adversity, but thrives because of it. You'll know that no matter what life throws at you, you have the strength to keep moving forward. And when you stand at the edge of the forest, the storm behind you, and look out at the vast horizon ahead. You'll know one thing for certain, that you made it here not because of anyone else, not because you followed the pack, but because you chose to face the storm alone. That, my friends, is where real courage is born. In walking alone, you don't just find strength, you become an example of it. While others may wait for permission or rely on the safety of the group, the lone wolf shows what's possible when you trust yourself and take action. And here's the truth. Leadership doesn't come from following the crowd. Leadership is forged in those moments when you stand on your own, choose your own direction, and move forward with conviction. When you walk your path alone, you demonstrate courage, resilience, and authenticity. You show others what it means to live life on your terms, to take responsibility for your decisions, and to keep going even when the way ahead is uncertain. That's leadership in its purest form, not telling others what to do, but showing them what can be done. People notice strength. They notice independence. When they see you carving your own path, they begin to realize that they, too, can break free from their own self-imposed limitations. Your willingness to walk alone inspires others to find their own courage, to trust their own instincts, and to reach for something greater. You become a leader not because you've commanded others to follow, but because you've shown them that it's possible to rise above fear and doubt. And here's the beautiful thing about leading from the front. It doesn't require a crowd to validate you. It doesn't depend on applause or recognition. True leadership comes from within. It's about having the integrity to follow your own truth, even when no one else is watching. It's about standing firm in your values and your vision, even when the world doesn't immediately understand. As a lone wolf, your strength is your example. Your determination lights the way for those who might be hesitant to leave the safety of the pack. And when others finally begin to step out on their own, it's not because you pushed them, it's because you inspired them. Leadership isn't about seeking followers. It's about showing people that they don't need to be followers at all. They can lead themselves just as you've led yourself. When you walk alone and thrive, you prove that the power to succeed, the power to create, the power to overcome, it's been inside them all along. So walk on, stand tall, lead by living your truth, and let your journey be the spark that ignites others' courage. The lone wolf doesn't look back to see who's following. It just keeps moving forward. And that is what makes it a true leader.